الحمد لله وكفى. الحمد لله وكفى. والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والله لا يحب الفساد. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، والسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. So today the topic is father-in-law, and we thought that before we do mother-in-law, we'll speak about the father-in-law, and then tomorrow inshallah we'll speak about the mother-in-law. The deen of Islam is such that the way to earn the nearness to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that way doesn't go through jungle or a cave. Rather, Allah ta'ala wants that if you want to come close to Him, then you have to live in these homes, be a part of the society, interact with other people, and interact in such a way that you fulfill the hukuk and the rights of Allah ta'ala, and you also fulfill the rights of the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the way to attain nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And hence, any person who can fulfill the hukuk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as they can fulfill the hukuk and the rights of the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are the ones who become makbul in the Allah. They become those who are accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are the ones who attain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are the ones with whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes pleased. So these hukuk that we are doing, these are hukuk about the rights of others, hukukul ibad. And we need to understand that this is also an ibadat. Some people think that only zikr and salah and fasting, these are big ibadat in our deen. But unfortunately, we don't pay attention to the rights of others. Whereas if we compare the rights of others, the hukukul ibad are actually more important compared to the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And our mashayikh, they say, and in fact, there's a report, a hadith also to that extent, that on the day of Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will first take the account of hukukul ibad, the rights of others. And every person, we will be held accountable by every other person. And when all of these rights of others, the hukukul ibad, when this stage would come to an end, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell the angel to make an announcement that it means that only my hukuk, my rights are left. So all of these people who were able to fulfill the rights of others, who were able to do hukukul ibad, I've forgiven my right, let them enter into Jannah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's easy that Allah ta'ala out of His rahmah, He can forgive, He can overlook any shortcomings and defects in our hukukullah. But hukukul ibad is something which is important, for which we will be held accountable. And this is one of the du'as that we should be making to Allah Ta'ala during this Ramadan, that Allah Ta'ala gives us the tawfiq that we can fulfill both our hukukullah as well as hukukul ibad. Many times in the name of hasad, because of envy or because of enmity or hatred or opposition, anger, sometimes a person becomes so blind that they are not able to differentiate between right and wrong. They try to dishonor the other person and they end up destroying their akhirah. And perhaps we can spend our dunya in this way. We may not be held accountable for our dunya, but then in akhirah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take us to account. And then a person will have to give the hisab kitab on that day. So this is a very important teaching that we ask Allah Ta'ala for that tawfiq to be able to fulfill our both hukukullah as well as hukukul ibad. Because only such a person becomes the makbul, the one who was accepted and the one who was pleasing in the sight of Allah. So when we speak about marital life, there are many aspects, many dimensions. We spoke about husband, wife, we spoke about son-in-law and daughter-in-law. And then we have the father-in-law and the mother-in-law. And almost all of them are living together. And sometimes it becomes difficult to have an adjustment where everyone is happy. The role of a father-in-law. The role of a father-in-law is such that he should tell everyone to live with love and with affection. And his responsibility is that he should try to keep the environment of the house good. Normally, in such a situation, when a lot of people are living, uh, and it seems that one of the root causes of friction or resentment is that every person living in that house, they are fighting for their own individual rights. There is like everyone just looking at their own motives, at their own goals, at their own purpose. The mother-in-law, for example, she just wants what is beneficial for her. The the daughter-in-law, she wants that which is beneficial for her. And then she might even have a sister-in-law, the sisters of her husband, and they also might be acting as a catalyst in 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 uh, in uh, worsening that situation. Uh, they also want their own motives, they also have their own goals. And as a result of this, when everyone is just thinking about about their own betterment, about their own motive, about their own benefit, uh, then it creates an environment where there's a lot of friction, there's a lot of bitterness, there's a lot of resentment, and as living in such a home with husn ikhlaq, uh, we need someone who can give that teaching. We need someone who can step inside and he can tell everyone that no, you should live with love and affection. You should try to prioritize the rights of others. And this is primarily the role of a father-in-law. That being the elder of the house, he should, whenever there is a need, he should explain to his wife that you should not be doing this, you should have done that. He should explain to his daughter as well, because it's his daughter, that you should have done this, you shouldn't have done that. And similarly, the girl, the daughter-in-law who's coming, uh, he should be there for her to back her up, to support her, so that the incoming girl, the incoming addition to the family, she doesn't feel overwhelmed, she doesn't feel overburdened, that the mother is there, uh, my sister-in-law, she is there. She needs that moral support. And the responsibility of the father-in-law to act in that elderly manner and provide her with that support, be there for her as a shade, not just leave her hanging in the air. She wouldn't know then what will happen to her. So this is a mistake that sometimes many father-in-law they make, that they are not able to speak in front of their wife. The wife continues doing whatever she wants, saying whatever she wants, and the father-in-law, he just sits and he's not able to step in. He basically, the wife is controlling the house. His wife is controlling the house. He's not able to step in. Uh, Many times it also happens that the father-in-law himself is so busy with his business and factory industry that he doesn't even have time to step inside and solve the family issues. And when this happens, that the man is not able to, someone who's elder, someone who's older, someone who has that elderly position, if they are not able to step inside and resolve the issues or ensure that there is a environment of love and affection, then inside the house there are just women. And if the women are also not cooperating with each other, the father-in-law also has taken a step back, then it's very obvious that this is the perfect environment where shaitan will take advantage, will put ill will in the hearts of others, will lead to backbiting, will lead to fights. So that is why this is one of the roles of the father-in-law, one of the responsibilities of the father-in-law, that he should be there as an elder to give this ta'aleem, to give this knowledge, to give this nasiha, counsel, advice to all members, whether his own wife or his daughter, uh, or his son even, and be a backup, be a source of moral support for his daughter-in-law, be there for her, not leave her hanging. So this type of a father-in-law, this is the ideal. Someone who keeps a watch and also tries to create an environment of piety and taqwa, why uh, and views this as his responsibility to be able to step in and speak to whoever is transgressing the boundary. So there is a lot of research about father-in-law as well. And they say that the best type of father-in-law is this type that we just mentioned, who is called like a pacifier, like this pacifier, that he is the one who explains to his wife, tries to pacify, explains to his daughter, continues to solve problems simultaneously, acts with that understanding. This is what a man is supposed to do. Keep the environment of the house good. Try to maintain harmony in the family. Uh, the opposite, the opposite, and would be someone who just becomes like a dictator, just wants to impose their will. Uh, Sometimes they just want to uh, manage everything, or they're just gossiping, uh, and uh, and then sometimes they're just following what the wife is saying. It's just like a mouthpiece of their wife. Uh, the wife is controlling everything. Uh, so this type will not be ideal, will not be good for the house. So, what are some of the qualities of a good father-in-law? How can we be a good father-in-law? So, there's some points to remember, and then we can find them even in the life of the Prophet ﷺ as well. So, one of the points is that whenever and whatever decisions are to be made in the house, it's the responsibility of the father-in-law to definitely include not just his son and daughter and his wife, but also include his daughter-in-law or son-in-law in that decision-making process. Why? So that they also consider themselves to be a part of the family. Not always ignore them or treat them as if they're second-rate citizens, second rate, or not their son, not his daughter, but to include them in that decision-making process. Be there to support them. Always be supportive. His attitude should always be supportive, always supporting the children, always supporting whether it's his wife or his son. his daughter-in-law, son-in-law, helping them. And very important, there should be kindness and rahmah and mercy in his nature. There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that you should show respect and izzah, honor, honor your elders, and the elders, they should show mercy towards their younger ones, to the children. So this quality of showing mercy and rahmah, this is really important for a father-in-law, that the younger ones, and the younger ones will always remain younger ones, right? Even if they become 40, 50, they're still children. So they will need that kindness and sympathy and rahmah and favor from their elders. And if he can have these qualities of rahmah, then he can be a good father-in-law. One beautiful example of this can be seen in the life of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam had a daughter, the eldest daughter, Sayyidina Zainab radiallahu ta'ala an. And she was married to her uncle's son. And at that time, he was not a Muslim. He was not a Muslim. Yani, the son-in-law was not a Muslim. His name was Abul As. Later on, he became a Muslim, radiallahu ta'ala an, but not at that time when the marriage took place. And then even later, when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam manifested Nabuwat, yani after the Izhar Nabuwat, the manifestation of prophethood, when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam started preaching openly the message of Iman in Islam, Abul As did not hasten to embrace Islam. He continued on the path that he was on before. And then, subhanAllah, there came a time that there was an occasion when Abul As was going towards Syria with a trade caravan. And when uh, he was about to return, there were some Sahaba Ikram of Medina Munawwara. They captured him on one occasion. And now the son-in-law has been captured. And then he was brought to the khidmat of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Now this is a very delicate situation. Remember that he is not even a Muslim. And the daughter, yani the daughter of the Prophet sallallahu she is still in Makkah Mukarramah, and the Sahaba Ikram, they've captured him and brought him to Medina Munawwara with them, and they presented him to the Prophet sallallahu. So one should see that this is such a delicate situation, but then look how beautifully Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam handled this, how lovingly he handled this, how he handled this with the mercy, with the rahmah. Now, if Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam wanted, he could have treated Abul As harshly, strictly or sternly, strongly, and could have said that you haven't still accepted my word, you haven't accepted Islam, and now you are in my control. How can you not accept this? But Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam did not do any of that, but rather treated him really well. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam gave him good food, honored him, and after honoring him, then uh, and during that time, uh, uh, yeah, uh, while this was happening, uh, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam's daughter, yani Sayyidina Zainab radiallahu ta'ala an, was married to Abul As. She was in Makkah Mukarramah. She sent something from Makkah Mukarramah. It was like a necklace. Uh, and this was that same necklace which Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam had given to Hazrat Khatija radiallahu ta'ala an at the time of their nikah. And then uh, uh, Hazrat Khatija radiallahu ta'ala an, she had given that same necklace to her daughter, as Zainab radiallahu ta'ala an, when she got married. So Zainab radiallahu ta'ala an, she sent that necklace to her husband, that you can give this to the Prophet ﷺ, and this could become like a payment, a compensation, and ask the Prophet ﷺ to set you free, uh, and keep the necklace. So when that necklace was given to the Prophet ﷺ, when the Prophet ﷺ saw that necklace, tears came in his blessed eyes. And he remembered that this was that same necklace that I'd given to my wife, and my wife then she gave it to my daughter on the occasion of her marriage. And now my daughter is sending this thing to me to get her husband released. So, and we see here in this story as well, Sayyidina Zainab radiallahu ta'ala an, her honor, in that she respected her husband so much that she sent that thing, her necklace, she's sending that from Makkah Mukarramah to get him released. We see the azmat of Sayyidina Zainab radiallahu ta'ala an, the level of respect that she had for her husband. Now, when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam received this necklace, he did mashwara, consulted with the Sahaba, saying that my daughter, she has sent this thing so that we can take this as a ransom, as a fidya, and release him. Now tell me what should be done. And this was important because the Prophet ﷺ did not want to take any unilateral decision. This would be against hikmat and wisdom. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam wanted to take a decision which would be agreed upon by everyone. This was also the far-sightedness of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, that he involved the Sahaba Ikram in the decision-making process. So when the Sahaba Ikram, they saw, they said that, Ya Rasulallah, oh beloved of Allah, you should return this necklace to your daughter and also set him free. And there's no need for us to take this necklace as a ransom. Return the necklace and also set her husband free. You have the authority. You are our Imam. You can do whatever you want. So when all the Sahaba Ikram, they agreed and they gave choice to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam to make his decision, then Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he spoke to Abul As, called him and spoke to Abul As and said that, look, you have not yet accepted Islam, but my daughter has become a Muslim and she wants to come to me. So I want you that you should send my daughter to me. That was the only thing that the Prophet ﷺ said. Did not make any other demand. Just asked that when you go back to Makkah Mukarramah, we'll let you go, but just send my daughter to me since she has become a Muslim. So when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam made this request, he agreed. And he said that I will go to Makkah Mukarramah, and as soon as I go there, I'll send you your daughter. I'll send your daughter back to you to Medina Tayyibah. And that is what happened. Abul As radiallahu ta'ala an, he went to Makkah Mukarramah and he said to his wife that I made a promise there with your father, and you can go to Medina Tayyibah. So in this way, then Sayyidina Zainab radiallahu ta'ala an, she arrived in Medina Tayyibah. And then it was some time later that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also put this thought of Iman and Islam in his heart as well. And then later he also did hijrah, migrated to Medina Tayyibah. And then he came to the Prophet ﷺ and said that now I've accepted Islam. He also became a Muslim, Abul As radiallahu ta'ala an. So we see in this story how Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam made this decision in such a beautiful way. The way he treated his son-in-law in such a beautiful manner, set him free, took a pledge, and then at the end we see that the son-in-law accepted Iman, accepted Islam, and he also sent the daughter back to the Prophet ﷺ. So this is a very important lesson that we learn from this story, that this is how the father-in-law should behave, that they should have that wisdom, act with wisdom, they should have understanding of matter, be able to reflect on the matter, have understanding, and above all, they should have mercy, rahmah, and love, and use that to be able to make better decisions. Then another quality is that the father-in-law should occasionally also praise his daughter-in-law or son-in-law for their good deeds. And for the good deeds that they're doing, the father-in-law should try to praise. This is really important that one says some words of appreciation, praising his daughter-in-law or son-in-law for their good deeds. Normally, what we find in our culture is that people love to criticize and scold others for their mistakes, but they don't appreciate them for the good deeds that they're doing. So, for example, if the son-in-law has kept the daughter happy, or the daughter-in-law, she has kept the son happy, then you should praise them. You should encourage them. You should give them good wishes. That Jazakallah khair. May Allah reward you. You have kept my daughter very happy. May Allah reward you. You have kept my son very happy. So what happens from this is that then when you appreciate it, when you show appreciation, then love will fall into the heart of this daughter-in-law or son-in-law. So this is a very important principle that we should try to appreciate, especially appreciate the younger ones in our family. For example, if they cook good food, if they keep the house clean, uh, if everything is happening according to plan, then they should thank, they should praise, they should show appreciation. The this is uh this is the fitrat, this is human innate nature, that whenever someone does a good deed, they want that someone should praise them, someone should appreciate. People work from several hours every day, wife and other people, and they just want words of appreciation from the other person. Just a few words, a few sentences that, yes, what you did was really good, and may Allah Ta'ala reward you. Uh, now, praising, for example, just take food, that if they prepared food and the food was good, then we should praise that food. And praising food, this is the sunnat of the Prophet ﷺ. In Hadith Mubarak it comes that when Nabi alayhi salatu would be presented food, if that food was not according to the liking of the Prophet ﷺ, then he would remain silent and he would abstain from eating. But he would not say anything with his tongue. But if the food was according to his liking, then Nabi alayhi would eat, and also he would praise it. That mashallah, very, very good food. And just a few words, they can uplift the spirit of the person who cooked that food. So in the same way, just like for food, we can analogize to other household chores as well, that when someone is doing something and they're doing it well, we should praise them. We should show appreciation. Uh, we should not become mute. Unfortunately, in some cultures, we see that people around us are doing everything good, everything well, and still we're not able to say even one word of appreciation. And on the other hand, the smallest of mistakes, the smallest of shortcomings, and we start criticizing them. Now, this is unjust. And because of this injustice, it spoils the environment of the house. It causes rifts and friction. Uh, so remember the usul. If you look at the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, the usul, the principle is that even if you want to, even if you want to criticize someone, criticize or you want to do islah, you want to rectify someone, rectify a habit, rectify a deed, tell them that they should improve. You can only do that if you praise the good that they're doing. You praise them, you sandwich that criticism between two praises. That's the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you can sandwich the criticism or that islah, that those words of counsel or advice between two praises, the other person becomes easy for that other person to take it, to digest it, and also to change themselves. This was the usul, the manner of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we did this before as well, that there was one Sahabi, he would find it difficult to wake up for the Tahajjud Salah. So Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam called him and took his name and said that this person is a very good person, but only if he can start praying Tahajjud, he'll become even better. And the Muhaddiseen, they say that when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said these words to him about Tahajjud, uh, and actually the Prophet ﷺ wanted to advise him on Tahajjud. That was the main purpose. But did not just right away said that start praying Tahajjud, why aren't you praying Tahajjud? But rather before that praised him that this young man is he's so good. He's so good, praised him. And then after that mentioned that if only he can start praying Tahajjud, then he'll become even better. Now, apparently it's the one and the same thing. But it was the manner in which the Prophet ﷺ spoke to him that those words just went into his heart. And ever since that nasiha, he never missed his tahajjud. So exactly in the same way, if we also have this habit that whatever good other people are doing in our homes, we praise them, we thank them, we show appreciation. And then after that, if there is some shortcoming or some mistake or something can be done in a better way, then we can point that out. This will make it easier for the other person to accept. They'll say, no, this person is level-handed, he's even-handed, he's also praising me for all the good that I'm doing. So maybe there's one thing where I can improve myself. This is a beautiful principle that we praise the good that other people are doing in our family, and then after that mention some room for improvement. But on the other hand, if we just remain mute on all the good that they're doing, we don't praise them, and then after that we are just critiquing, criticizing, then that criticism will people will find difficult to accept that criticism. And then that criticism will lead to problems and issues and friction in the house. The other person might say that this person is always critiquing, he's always mentioning faults, he's not looking at all the other things that I'm doing. So this is a principle that you show appreciation. You can sometimes even reward them. We see this, not the best of examples, but this is psychology. And for animals as well, we see that sometimes, like dolphins, the trainer, we were in Dubai a few years ago, we saw this dolphin show, and the trainers, they work with these dolphins, and whenever the dolphin does something which it's supposed to do, the trainer shows appreciation and gives them something to eat, like a reward, rewarding the good, and it works. So if this is something which works there, then insan is insan, right? We are ashraful makhlukat. We can also have this habit of rewarding the other person, maybe giving a gift, a token of love, a token of appreciation. For example, you come back from your work, and you come back from your work and you see that your son-in-law or your daughter-in-law, she is sitting on the musalla and she's reciting tasbih, or she's reading Quran, or they're reading Quran, And you can just say that I like this habit, that I saw that you were sitting and you were reciting Quran, and it was a I like what you were doing. In just a few words, it takes maybe 3 seconds, 5 seconds, but this will have such a positive impact upon them. They'll try to be regular in that practice, in that tilawat or in that zikr. They'll feel that, look, there's someone who's noticing and someone who's praising. There is someone who's becoming happy with what we are doing. So it takes about 3, 4, 5 seconds, but it can help to steer the other person's life completely, right? They will then continue doing that ibadah, continue doing that tilawah. They'll feel happy that this is something which makes my in-laws happy, my father-in-law happy. Just 3, 4 seconds, but that ibadat becomes beloved to that person. It's enough to win over the heart of that person. So we learn from here a very important principle from the Sunnah, that we should try to praise the good work that other people are doing. And when we do that, then inshallah they'll do that with even more jazba, with even more passion, with even more love and dedication. Then the father-in-law, being the elder, we say that to run a bigger show, you need to have a big heart. And that means you need to let go of grudges. Petty grudges should be removed from the heart. One should be generous. One should be big-hearted, open-hearted. One should look at a macro level, on a broader scale, so that the environment inside the home remains good, and everyone's relationship with each other, they remain good as well. Similarly, another responsibility, another important point, another responsibility of the father-in-law is to always make a dua for not just his sons and his daughters, but just like he makes dua for his sons and daughters, he should also make dua for his daughters-in-law and sons-in-law. You should not do farak in dua. It's his responsibility to make the same kind of dua for his son-in-law and his daughter-in-law as he's making for his own sons and daughters. And if we look in the seerah, we find that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he used to make a lot of du'as for his son-in-laws. Once Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam called Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala was his son-in-law. And he says that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he kept his blessed hand on my chest and then made dua for me, that Allahumma hadi qalbahu wa thabbit lisanahu. That, oh Allah, give guidance to his heart, give hidayah to his heart, and make him steadfast in his tongue. And Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala, he says that after receiving this dua from the Prophet sallallahu, whenever I would be in doubt about two matters, about two things, when two things would appear before me, uh, very quickly I would be able to make a decision that should I do this or should I do that. And this is one of the greatest maqam of a judge, that they can look at the situation and very quickly come to make an issue a verdict, that what is the better of the two. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala an, he was blessed with this maqam of Qazi. It was a very good in terms of uh, in terms of making decisions. وَأَقَدَاهُمْ Ali. So making du'as for your sons-in-law and daughters-in-law. So, for example, another hadith, it's mentioned that this is the beginning of Islam and early Islam, when there were some people who were migrating, some Muslims, Sahaba Ikram, who were migrating to Habasha, to Abyssinia. This is the first hijrah. So, Sayyidina Usman radiallahu ta'ala an was the son-in-law of the Prophet sallallahu. He was one of them. And he, along with his wife, Sayyidina Ruqayya radiallahu ta'ala an, they did this hijrah. And the Prophet ﷺ did not know that where they were going. Uh, so there was a woman from Habsha who came, and she said that I saw Sayyidina Usman radiallahu ta'ala an was taking his wife on a ride to Habsha. And then as soon as uh, as soon as the Prophet ﷺ heard that Hazrat Usman radiallahu ta'ala an was taking his wife, Sayyidina Ruqayya radiallahu ta'ala an, to Habasha, immediately Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam made dua for both of them. That, oh Allah, you become their companion. Allah, you become their companion. Allah, you become their helper. Allah, you make their journey easy for them. So giving dua, right, like this is also an important task, a responsibility. When a person makes dua, and they frequently continue to make duas for their children, for their daughters-in-law and their sons-in-law, Allah Ta'ala puts khair. Allah Ta'ala gathers everyone's heart on goodness, on a khair. Then another principle is that the father-in-law should also have a habit of giving gifts. Again, whether big or small, it should be given on appropriate occasions. So, for example, there is a wedding anniversary. Wedding anniversaries can be celebrated, not birthdays, but wedding anniversary. Um, it's an appropriate occasion, giving gifts, or Eid, and similarly, when the grandchildren they have their milestone, they have their events, looking for opportunities to give gifts to everyone, because by giving gifts, again, love comes into the hearts of the children. So one should always be looking at the positive side of everything. Uh, in short, be a mediator, not a homebreaker. The father-in-law should be a mediator. In some cultures, unfortunately, uh, the father-in-law they don't realize this role of mediating, of being trying to reconcile, trying to do sulh. They end up doing something or saying something which causes more separation, causes more breaking, as opposed to joining. Always remember that uh, joining is always better than breaking. To keep everyone joined, that's always better than breaking apart. Breaking apart. Uh, in some places, what happens that if a daughter says that her husband is giving her a tough time, uh, husband is troubling her, then the father is the first to say that, okay, you don't need to go. So they break the house. So we should always remember that joining is always better than breaking. Uh, we and the father-in-law should also try and encourage his son or his daughter to treat their partner, their spouse, well. That encouragement should be there, should be given frequently. We see this in the Sunnah of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam as well. Hazrat Abdul Rahman, he narrates that once the Prophet ﷺ came to visit his daughter, and she was the wife of Hazrat Usman radiallahu ta'ala an. So when the Prophet ﷺ came to see his daughter, at that time she was وَهِيَ تَغْسِلُ رَأْسَ عُثْمَانَ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى عَنْهُمَا. She was washing the head of Sayyidina Usman radiallahu ta'ala an. So when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam saw that, he said that, Ya bunayya ahsini ila abi abdillah فَإِنَّهُ أَشْبَهُ أَصْحَابِي bi khuluqa. That, oh my beloved daughter, uh, do treat your husband well. Treat your husband well, for he is closest to me in terms of character. Now see here that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam saw his daughter, that she was helping her husband, taking care of her husband, and Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam praised this deed. That what you're doing is really good. What you're doing is really good, and you should take care of your husband. And he's encouraging his daughter to treat his husband well. So this is how the father-in-law should be, that he tries to encourage his children to be good towards the other person. The mistake, the friction or resentment happens when the father-in-law, he is not uh, guiding or counseling his own children, but rather is always counseling the daughter-in-law or the father or the son-in-law. When you're not counseling your own daughter and just always telling your son-in-law, this will lead to friction. Uh, some other points are that there should be some flexibility in scheduling family gatherings and events. Children, they have their own schedules. Uh, so one should sometimes be careful about having that level of flexibility. Practice fairness and equal treatment between all children. Do not deprive the son-in-law of his role uh, of providing his input in the family, trying to solve the issues in the family. Should not be deprived of that role that he has. One should give them help and assistance without any strings, with no strings attached. And also, if the mother-in-law, she is intrusive, the father-in-law needs to step in and maintain those boundaries, uh, not always allow the mother-in-law to make intrusive demands upon the couple. And should take interest in his son-in-law's work, just like he takes interest in the work of his own son or the work of his own daughter. He should also take interest in the work of his son-in-law or daughter-in-law, be there to support them, to guide them, to help them. Once Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala an, he received a proposal from the daughter of Abu Jahl. And this was a time when Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala was already married to Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha. And we know that Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala an, uh, he's now receiving this proposal from Abu Jahl's daughter. And Abu Jahl was the uncle of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala an. So she would be her first cousin. And she was also, appearance-wise, she was also attractive. And she was also coming from the tribe of Quraysh, a noble tribe, noble family lineage. So when Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu received that proposal, he started to reflect that should I have a second wife? Should I marry? Accept this proposal? When Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he found about this, then Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam called Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala an and told him not to think on those lines. Uh, told him not to have a second wife, not to take a second wife, as long as his own daughter, Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu ta'ala an, was alive. What is the reason for this? Because we know in the Sharia, technically, Sharia gives ijaza and permission that a man can have more than one wife. So why did the Prophet ﷺ, prohibit Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala an? The scholars have mentioned that one of the reason was that if uh, there would be a co-wife, two wives, then normally what happens is that there is some amount of resentment and jealousy and envy between the two wives. And that envy or jealousy can very quickly transform itself in such a way that both women, they then start saying bad things about each other's family, about each other's father or mother. Uh, and if Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu ta'ala an, she would have a co-wife, then the other person would give ta'ana or would say something negative about the family of Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu ta'ala an. And the father, in this case would be this tana, this negativity would go all the way back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So for this reason, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, at the very outset, he prohibited Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala an from considering this proposal. And when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he said this to Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala an and made him understand, then he also gave up that idea. So the last thing to remember here is that among all the means that one has to keep the family unit together, to keep everyone happy, to have an environment of love and affection, where everyone is trying to live their life in such a way that they can attain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can make use of all of these. But remember that in the hadith we learn that among all the means that a person can adopt, the best mean is dua. The best means is dua. And since the father-in-law is now older, he's in that age group where he is older, he's less busy. So he should also keep making dua. And this is really important. Keep making dua. Keep making dua. That may Allah keep that love between the son and the daughter-in-law. May Allah Ta'ala keep that love between the daughter and the son-in-law. And inshallah, Allah Ta'ala does not reject the du'as of our elders. The du'as of our elders are things which always work. So we make dua to Allah Ta'ala that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to act upon these teachings. May Allah Ta'ala grant such homes to all of us, homes which are homes of happiness, homes of taqwa, sunnah, where we can all make our preparation for this journey to akhirah, where we can all live such a life that we are trying to attain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by fulfilling our huququllah and fulfilling our huququl ibad. May Allah ta'ala give all of us that tawfiq. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. رب الوهاب اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم إنا نسألك حبك وحب من يحبك وحب من يقربنا إليك. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وأنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ، لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم، وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله تعالى على حبيبي خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.